Cavs lost the season opener to the New York Knicks.
Yeah, I mean, we're just letting them get their hopes up early. We'll dash them later. It's charitable of us. I will say it is a bit of a bummer to start the season the same way we ended it with a loss, but there's a lot to talk about here because I know we both saw things that we liked, saw things that we didn't like. I'll say that in this game in particular, I think it's pretty clear that we got beat at the stripe, and I'm not sure why we're so bad at the free throw line. That should not, give you the result of a game or change the result of a game. But what did you think? First night.
Yeah, I have no complaints about the Cavs' first night. I mean, of course, I want to go home with a win. You talk about the free throw line, you talk about the charity stripe to use your comment from the beginning before the intro. But I mean, they only missed six free throws in the game. I mean, you look at what the Knicks did, they missed five, but they had 36 free throw attempts. We had 18. I am not one to critique a ref ever. I just saw that as a very popular take on all of the social media platforms that the refs were very much in the Knicks' favor. I didn't really see it with my own eye test. I thought the fouls were pretty decent, and maybe I'll catch some flack for that. Maybe that's the Cleveland Cavaliers employee in me coming out a little bit and keeping it timid. But I saw a lot of things I really liked out of this game. I mean, the Cavs did end up losing 111 to 119 to the Knicks, as you said, but I thought there was a lot of highlights. Don't you agree, Eric?
Yeah, some of the rookies, Lonzo Ball. I mean, I saw a lot that I really liked, and just a reminder that we're playing without some key elements here. DeAndre Hunter, especially against this Knicks team that was rolling fairly big against us. We had to run small because we had no choice. So missing out on Hunter, that's a big miss. And then, of course, one Darius Garland, who, like him or not, he makes a pretty key difference. So I never like to blame, you got to run with who you have. Uh, but yes, there was plenty to like. Sam Merrill looked good down the stretch.
Yeah,
He
you
was
did.
popping off for a minute. I liked how they looked. We got into some of those offensive possessions where it's like I talked about in the preview show. We just yak up a three and we don't really run an offense. When it's working and we're flowing, it's working well. Early on, they decided that they're going to flow everything through Mobley. And I like that. I think that's a good game plan. We kind of lost the plot a little bit, but we were also trailing a lot of this game. Lonzo Ball, in particular, I liked his game, but when he was cold and he just kept putting up threes, it gets a little frustrating, especially when you're not deep in the possession there. You come down the court in the first several seconds, you're putting up a three. That's not his game. It shouldn't be his game for us. I know that he can catch fire. You talked about that. But yeah, I saw a lot of good things, and I'm not worried at all that, I'm not pessimistic after this game.
I'm not pessimistic either. And you made a beautiful point talking about Evan Mobley because I thought that was the biggest takeaway I got from this game. We have talked year in and year out. The Cavs themselves now have talked year in and year out about how this offense needs to run through Evan Mobley for them to be as successful as possible because he has the ability to be that guy. And they did their damnedest to start that trend today. Evan Mobley, 8 for 18 from the field, 4 from 8 from three. He was
Yeah.
slinging that thing from behind the arc. 8 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 steals, 1 block. It was a good game from Evan. I was really happy with how they tried to utilize him. They let him bring the ball up a bunch. And Donovan Mitchell filling into that role of, okay, you need me to do something? All right, I'm going to do something all game. I mean, he finished with 31 points, I believe, and 5 assists. He had a hell of a night as well. Those two looked great. And I know the loss sucks. You want to beat the Knicks because you two are the favorites in the East right now. But when you think about all the injuries, like you said, Darius Garland, Max Strus is gone, DeAndre Hunter, you have a lot of players not playing in this game. There's still plenty of time. And I'm not discrediting the NBA regular season, but we have all talked about how important the postseason really is this year, no matter where they slot in, what seed they have, what the home court advantage is. Them losing game one, especially with some injuries, I'm fine with it. I'm totally fine with it because I saw things that I wanted to see out of this team.
Yeah, and I just want to reiterate briefly, Evan Mobley is that dude. He has a game where you can't cheat when you're playing defense on him, which is, I mean, we could talk about the defensive side. He's amazing, but he's a 7 footer that has ball control skills, can hit
Yeah.
from long range. And then, oh, by the way, his post game has just gotten better and better over the years. The one part of his game I talked about free throws, he's got to get better at the stripe. He's like a 70 percenter career wise. He's for a guy of his talent, he's got to bring that up to like 80% at least. But we cannot understate the development of one Evan Mobley. Every single they were talking about it on the broadcast. Every year it
Yeah,
seems
they
like
were.
he adds a piece to his game, and it's so refreshing to see. This team is a team that can be scary. I still wonder if we're a piece away, but when we're gelling, nobody can beat us. Uh, we kind of mismanaged the quarters a little bit. Normally, we're weak in the third quarter, interestingly enough. Just going off last year, that was our strongest this game. But again, I just want to say once again, like I'm not worried about this Cavs team whatsoever.
Yeah, I'm not worried either. Something else, I'm just looking at the minutes played and thinking about what you said as well. I really like the fact that we were leaning into the idea of playing Evan Mobley at the 5 a lot more. I think that's going to be key down the stretch, especially when you have your full lineup. You have Hunter back, you have Strus back, you have of course Darius Garland back, and you're playing them with Donovan Mitchell, Evan Mobley, I'm not going to say Jared Allen because I don't think Jared Allen should be getting crunch time minutes anymore. I just don't think that's his role at this point in time on the Cleveland Cavaliers roster. But playing Evan Mobley at the 5, using Jared Allen as, yes, a starter to start, but almost like rotating him and Evan off and on the court, which we saw a fair amount during this game. I really like that was an adjustment that I saw going into this season that I thought could help unlock Mobley more. And use Jared Allen to his talents a little bit better. So I really like that. There was another lineup. I didn't get to touch on Lonzo Ball myself yet. I agree with the sentiment of what you said. 1 from 7, all of them from three, only making one. Sometimes you got to just pass the ball, man, and he's great at that. So I think that's, first game jitters, whatever, he'll be fine.
Still
But
had
Lonzo
6
Ball,
assists.
that he did. Lonzo Ball on the court with Evan Mobley, that's going to be a fun one to watch throughout the season because as Lonzo gets more comfortable facilitating the ball to these Cleveland Cavaliers players, specifically Evan Mobley, I think it's going to be a sight to see, something to be really excited to watch about in this regular season and as we continue on with the NBA season.
I don't know if we'll see it, but I would love to see a lineup of Darius Garland, Mitchell, and Lonzo Ball with Evan Mobley and pick your fifth at that point. I just
Hunter,
think it'd
all
be an
day. Give me Hunter.
interesting, yeah, DeAndre Hunter. I think that'd be an interesting lineup on both sides of the ball that I don't know. Obviously, we haven't seen it, but it would be exciting. Looking over the box score, Noah, watching the game, I felt like we gave them way too many second chance points. They
Yeah.
seem to be out rebounding us, but looking at the box score, that's not really the case. They only had 13 second chance points to our 11. They had 58 rebounds to our 50. It really was the tail of the tape, the refereeing, and the free throw line where they hurt us here.
Yeah, it's frustrating. You don't want to lose a game, but I can overanalyze the first game of an NBA season all I want. But we were talking about it before we hit the record button. The Cavaliers, the 2015-16 Cavaliers, lost their home opener, season opener, excuse me. The Cavs
And
last
remind
year, who
me
got
how that season ended?
they won with a ring, and the Cavs last
That's
year
right.
started out 15-0 and got bounced in the second round like they have in years past. So, does it really matter? No, it doesn't. It's more so for me taking the positive attributes out of this game and continuing and analyzing that as we move through this NBA season. You mentioned real quick a lineup that I'm really excited about because I think that is our closing couple minute lineup in the playoffs, and that is Lonzo Ball, Darius Garland, Evan Mobley, Donovan Mitchell, and then I threw in DeAndre Hunter to help you out. I just want to touch on that real quick because I think that lineup is going to be filthy when the time comes. Don't do it now. Lonzo's got his injury issues. Let him play
Yeah.
his 20, be six man, do his thing. But when the time comes when it matters most, whew, I can't wait.
Yeah, Lonzo Ball played 23 minutes in this game, and I hope that we do exactly just that. And I think we will because we can. He doesn't need to be out there for the full game, obviously. So let him recover, but so far so good. I mean, we talked about it even last year when we had made this change in the offseason. We talked about that was going to be a big piece for us. I was more so on his defensive side, but he distributes the ball so well and he sees the court so well.
Yeah, he's a dime machine. He could print out dimes left, right, and center, like the Evan Mobley stock I have in the corner. Shout out to our longtime listeners that know that joke. Lonzo Ball's printing out dimes over there as well, putting it on top of my Evan Mobley stock, getting ready to pass that ball, give him some alley oops, and do his damnedest.
He's like
Something
the
I
Trent
wanted to,
Dilfer of the NBA. Remember
you'll have
Dilfer's
that.
dimes?
You'll have that. I want to touch on Tyrese Proctor real quick. We had a rookie play some serious minutes today. I thought he looked pretty good. He held his own for his first NBA action, considering he's a second round pick. Obviously, a well done second round pick, meaning he's played a lot of college ball. But I thought he did well, all things considered. He didn't play a ton of minutes, 16 ish. What did you think about him, man?
No, I felt the exact same way. For a rookie making his debut at Madison Square Garden of all places, what a tough place to go in and not let the lights be too bright. I thought he looked good. I think we're going to get some good minutes out of him. Listen, the moves that we've made have been excellent. I still question, do we need a piece? I don't know if you caught the OKC game the other night that went deep, went into overtime, but they still look like a championship team to me. And that's not to say that we don't. You know, we led in almost every statistical category and ended up losing this game. I think we're going to be just fine. But I still just wonder, my same gripe from last year, are we one piece away? We have the big core four. I don't know, and time will tell. I'm a big believer that in professional sports, it's all about getting hot at the right moment. And the Cavs can do just that. They were hot in the beginning of the season last year. Nobody could beat them. I hope we see
Right.
that at the end of the year this year, and they could turn it on when it really matters.
So do I. So do I. And it's early to make that type of prediction. I'm very happy with what this Cavaliers roster looks like right now and in the future, obviously, with injuries and whatnot. To not want to open up that, do we need another piece conversation just yet? Because I think we're deep. You add Thomas Bryan, you have Tyrese Proctor already playing good minutes. Jalen Tyson, real quick. I want to give him
Yeah.
some shout outs because he was a Canton Charge member. Excuse me, they're the Cleveland Charge now. He was a Cleveland Charge member for most of the season last year. Started in this game, played a good role. I mean, he didn't do anything crazy, but he played 20 minutes. He wasn't like detrimental to what the Cleveland Cavaliers were doing. So I can't complain about him at all. Give him some props. It's not like he was a world beater. Oh my God, we drafted an all-star. But he did his role. I was happy with it.
Yeah, he did. You know what I want to see the most, Noah, honestly, is I think LeBron actually touched on this before the season. Allen and Mobley, they need to play off one another a little better than we've seen so far. It looks clunky at times when they're in there together. And I don't know what that is exactly. I don't know if we're just not as comfortable running two bigs like that. Um, but they've gotta play better together to let this ceiling really be seen. Um, I agree with you that that killer lineup come playoff time that does not include Jared Allen. I can't wait to see that. But if you could get those 2 clicking in a lineup together, I think you're gonna see the heights of which, we haven't seen since 2016. But I mean, arguably, the Cavs are under the most pressure of any team coming into this season.
Yeah, I mean, I agree because the expectations were so super high last year compared to years past, honestly, because of the winning record and what they did in the regular season to fall flat. Now, not only is it, I think, external pressure, I think it's internal when you talk about a guy like Donovan Mitchell who wants his first ring, who wants to cement his legacy as one of the best, one of the faces of the NBA period that he's playing in right now. So I agree with you 100% in that. And I do think that we will be able to negate some of those chemistry issues that you talk about by doing things like what I said earlier, playing Evan Mobley at the five, letting Jared Allen almost kind of become a bench big that starts the game but rotates in, and what they did tonight to an extent. So maybe it won't become as much of an issue as this season and the postseason, the NBA Cup, whatever you want to point to continues on because of that rotational pull and because they have players like Larry Nance Jr., Thomas Bryant that they brought in that can rotate in and play and eat up some of those big minutes, unlike what they had last year. Dare I say Dean Wade too, because I know Dean Wade's stock goes up and down worse than a meme stock, for lack of a better term, for the Cleveland fan base. Um, I just see it being able to work out very well for this Cleveland Cavaliers team.
Yeah, you're right though in saying that it's kind of now or never. We're in that second apron, and I know money doesn't really matter to ownership, but just as a reminder, unless we win and we stay in that second apron, it's a lot of money. The Celtics are notable. They won the championship and then they elected to stay in that second apron. They shelled out about $100 million just in taxes, the
Yeah.
so-called luxury tax. So it's kind of untenable for us not to win.
Yeah, it is untenable too because then you look at the Celtics situation. Like, what if an injury happens? They obviously sold a little bit in the offseason to make it more redeemable. While Jason Tatum is obviously dealing with his torn Achilles and he'll come back from that at some point. But this is not their year. They're admitting that by what they did with their roster construction, basically with
Yeah.
moving off of some of the pieces that they did.
And bringing
Um,
in a guy
it's
like
all
Paul.
yeah, it's all in. It's all in for the Cleveland Cavaliers, and shout out the all in hashtag that used to be the hashtag for the Cavs because I like it better than let them know. Don't quote me on that. But um it's all in for the Cavs. It's all in for this year. That's how the apron rules are going to continue to affect the NBA. So
And same
so
can be
be
said
it.
for the Knicks. I mean, what they're doing, they're going all in right now too, because they're in a very similar position. I know we're talking Cavs, but it's just interesting because I think these are two of the teams that you are going to see deep in the playoffs this year.
Yeah, I was trying to convince my mom to turn on the game instead of going to bed tonight. Shout out Carrie, she goes to bed a little early sometimes, because this could be very well the preview of the Eastern Conference Finals this year. And instead of being the fair weather fan that buys in the playoffs, you know what I mean? Buy
Right.
in now, watch now, because it was entertaining. I was entertained for 4 quarters of basketball, which isn't always said in the regular season, but can 100% be said in the postseason. When it's these big matchups and you're not excited, I just don't get it because even though if you don't buy into the regular season mattering as much or not, it's still a good time. It's still a good time to see what could be happening in the postseason play out in front of your eyes a couple months early.
What do you think the East looks like? Because we mentioned that these two teams could be like an Eastern Conference Finals matchup, but who else would be challenging them to maybe take that crown?
Well, of course, Orlando's the other big favorite. I think that still plays. I think there can be an argument to be had with, of course, the Celtics, just because they do still have talent on that roster with Jalen Brown and whatnot, regardless of the injuries and the trades. But the main one, obviously, being the Orlando Magic. Do you have? Oh, the Hawks too. I think could be up there this year just because of the injuries that are going on in the East. What about you?
One of the teams that I think honestly is an X factor are the 76ers. They've kind of retooled in a way and they look good in their win. Edgecombe had 34 most in a debut since Wilt Chamberlain in 1959. They could be one that that challenges, frankly.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not high on Philly just because of the rumors, the thoughts, everything that went on with the process and tanking and not understanding how to win. It kind of reminds me of some of the conversations we have with the Cleveland Browns and why I don't believe in tanking because it doesn't instill a culture, even with your top guys, of winning games matters.
That was a long
And
time ago, though.
has Joel Embiid won anything other than an MVP and a
No, he
Skechers deal?
hasn't. Has Donovan Mitchell? I mean, you could say the same thing about our team.
Well, Donovan Mitchell's also much younger and in that prime window now. Joel Embiid's kind of been in the thick of this for a minute now, with rosters that have been built around him multiple times to do what is the goal of an NBA season and win the Larry O'Brien Trophy. Did you see the quote from Jared Allen before the game? I want to get your reaction.
I did, but roll it.
Is it just me, or the lights in here brighter than expected?
I love Jared Allen for moments like this. He had another when I think it was the singer of the national anthem he was really into. Did you see that? Uh,
Yeah.
made it during the game. Like, he's one of the most interesting characters in the NBA, honestly. Like, when you think you have his personality pegged, he'll throw a wrench into it and be completely different. And I, for one, I'm here for it. I love this side of him.
I'm going to be critical for a second,
Oh boy.
and we're flipping roles, but
Yeah,
you're
we are.
making fun of a quote that you put into the media after you got beat by the New York Knicks, aka making fun of yourself losing. We talk about how this team needs to play a little bit more hard nosed basketball, be a little more stern, a little more caring about being rough and rugged, and all of the adjectives that align with that. First game of the season, you're in Madison Square Garden and you're making a joke about a quote that people meme you for all the time. I get it because I understand Jared's personality and I love it in terms of person to person. In terms of what we need to see out of the Cleveland Cavaliers to win a championship, however, it bothers me a little bit. I won't
That's
lie.
why I've said trade him for years. Because that's not him, and you're not gonna get that out of him.
No, I and maybe that's a broader conversation that needs to be had at a later date, depending on how the season, of course, unravels. Because I just it doesn't sit right with me anymore. It's fun when we're the gritty go Cavs. We made the play in, and we had three All Stars, and the All Star game was in Cleveland. Nah, it's 2025 now. It's going to be the 2026 Finals, and I want to see a damn ring come home to the land.
Well, yeah, I mean, like I said, though, if you're asking that more toughness out of Jared Allen, that's not his game. Um, so you might as well move on from him at this point. But we'll get to that
We
eventually.
we shall see. Hopefully, we don't even have to have that conversation, and he could just be a fun, awesome piece to what is going to be a fun and awesome Cleveland Cavaliers season.
For sure. What else from this game moving forward? Anything on your mind for the Cavs this year?
I know DeAndre Hunter is basically day to day with his injury. So seeing him come back and be in the starting lineup sooner rather than later is huge. Darius Garland sounds like he's progressing faster than many thought. So maybe we'll see him ASAP, no Rocky. And we can just rock and roll with what can be another fun Cavaliers season and ride this train all the way to April and May and June, hopefully, for the NBA playoffs.
You know what I'm most looking forward to?
What's that?
Those classic blue jerseys being on the court again. Speaking of jerseys, that's a great segue because we're going to be live the next couple weeks, starting with this Sunday at Tapster in Lakewood. We're going live at noon. We're going to preview the Browns game. Come out, have a drink with us. We'll be there for a few hours, definitely for the whole game, and obviously the pregame. Following that, after the bye week, we'll be at High and Dry, which is a great spot. And then in the Muni lot, maybe for the last time, as it's getting a little chilly out there, going to have to defrost our computers. And as part of that, we have a jersey giveaway, Noah.
Of course, we have a jersey giveaway. It is sports equinox season. We got all the sports going on. And to celebrate the two main Cleveland sports playing right now, we are going to give away either a Browns jersey or Cavs jersey of your choice. You name the player, we'll ship it to your door free of charge. All you got to do is subscribe to At the Office on YouTube. That's the page you're watching this video on right now. So hit that subscribe button, leave a comment so that way we can figure out who you are, and you will be entered to win one or other Browns or Cavs jersey. You get to decide.
I would say Cavs because although they disappoint us, it is much less frequent than the Browns disappoint us. On that note, the debate never ends, Noah, but the show does for now. We'll see you next time.